Wayne's got a huge amount of success in the business world, training salespeople. He's worked with the likes of Jim Rohn. He runs the Top Gun Business Academy. We've been friends for several years now, and I'm really excited for him to share some of his expertise with the listeners and the viewers that we have today. So for the 2 or 3 people that may not have to know you as well as I do, would you mind just giving a 2-minute overview of what you do?
Well, thanks for the very, very, very generous introduction. Appreciate that. Look, my background is I started in Brisbane, kid in school, 17 years of age. I was in that top half of the, I beg your pardon, I was in that half of the class that made the top half possible all the way through school. In other words, I wasn't good at school, didn't like school, and the thought of going to university was too much to bear. So I wanted to get into business. I come from a working class family, a lot of love in my family, but not a lot of money. And funny, in those days as a kid, I thought the money was success. And of course, I'm a little older now, and I know that that is not true, but it helps a lot. So I was driven to get into business. I chose a company that would train me well, a company called the NCR Corporation. In fact, I applied to IBM. Why IBM? They had a reputation of training their salespeople extraordinarily well. I got into sales because I knew that sales was, basically where the money was at. IBM rejected me, Xerox rejected me, NCR I sold myself into, and I started in a sales support capacity because I was too young to be in sales. They said you had to be 25, I was like 17, going on 18. And to cut a very long story short, I very quickly moved into sales because my boss went on long service leave. I went out, started making cold calls. My sales manager noticed how keen I was, and he said, "Son, if you're prepared to be in here at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'll give you some training. And if you're prepared to take this and use it, then I'll continue the training." He thought I would never turn up 7 o'clock in the morning. I did. In fact, I attended some meetings he didn't turn up for. And over that next 12 months, I was very, very good in sales, so much so I qualified for the Century Points Club. And I went to Las Vegas when I was just under 19 years of age, attending the first conference. If you can imagine the trouble a 19-year-old kid from Brisbane could get into in Las Vegas, which in those days was run by the mafia. But look, I want to say I really come from the real background, a real solid, real-world background is what I'm saying. Certainly, I've learned an awful lot along the way, as you have, and I believe personal development is what it really is all about. And I guess I've been in the personal development area all of my life. I moved into it professionally when I went through sales management. So I was successful in sales, moved into sales management by 21. Had my own business when the time of recording here now, 43 years. I've been training salespeople, sales managers, business owners around the world. And around about 13, 14 years ago, we brought that online. So up until that point, I was constantly traveling, presenting live workshops, and written 5 books. So that's kind of my background. So I guess what I'm saying is I come from the real world.
Right, okay. And over the years, I mean, there's a lot of guys that move into coaching. Like we've seen a lot in the last 10 years, especially since the likes of, Tony Robbins has made it such a coaching this worldwide phenomenon. I don't think it was a term that was around 20 years ago. What is it? One of the things that you've noticed that you do, consistently, whether it's a trait or a habit or, a character trait perhaps that you do that you've noticed a lot of other coaches who perhaps are not quite successful haven't been so diligent with, that's attributed to your success?
Look, I think it all starts with mindset, having the right mindset and motivation. I'm a great believer our outer world will always be a reflection of our inner world, but also being able to walk the talk. Truly, there's some coaches out there, and I'm not talking to them, but there's some coaches out there that really, with no intended disrespect, I wouldn't let them wash my car, in that they don't really know what they're doing. So I guess we find it a challenge too, also finding our licensed Top Gun sales coaches. We interview many. They have to have at least 15 years experience in sales, at least 5 years in sales management, at least a few years in business for themselves. So I guess coming from the real world and being personal development oriented and recognizing that school is never out for the professional. So a trait of all successful coaches is they walk the talk, they have a great positive attitude, but it comes from not rah-rah beat on your chest, it comes from knowing their stuff and being able to, and we were talking about some of your successful clients, you are able to refer your potential clients to your success stories and get a great rap from them. And we're the same. So I'd say that's the key to not just coaching, but any kind of business, to realise that we've got to continually develop our selling skills, negotiating skills, leadership skills, marketing skills.
Yes.
If we want to be successful as a business operator, whether it's a huge corporation that you're heading up or whether it's a SME type business.
Yeah, you've mentioned something there which I want to touch on. We're going a little bit off script, if you like. I suppose there isn't a script.
No, we don't have one.
But you mentioned marketing, and I've noticed in my career of 14 years really being in marketing how it's become so much more important than sales. I mean, they're both very much interlinked, but so much of the customer journey is now happening online.
Yep.
Have you seen that marketing's playing more of a role, and how does that affect how you've coached and stuff like that?
Look, I think marketing is smarter, far smarter than it was in yesteryear. But I think salespeople and business owners need to know how to use that marketing and how to do it well. I mean, you're a specialist with LinkedIn. Other people claim to be specialists with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all of these others. I think it's understanding how to use the marketing tools these days, how to use LinkedIn, how to use Facebook, how to use them all. But then you've still got to have the selling skills when the leads come in. So, if you get leads coming in by telephone, or you get people walking into your store, and you and I were chatting off camera about this before, I mean, it can be a complete disaster. People spend money marketing, get the phone to ring, and then it's handled so badly, or people walk into their business, it's handled so badly. And then, of course, they say, well, the marketing's not working. Well, yeah, marketing's probably working, but your face-to-face interaction with clients is not.
Yeah. This is one of the things I struggle with is digital marketing. Is one of the questions I always ask a new client is, what's your sales process? And the amount of blank faces I get back, it gives me terrors. It keeps me up at night.
Yep.
Because if there's no sales process, there is no return on investment. It doesn't matter how many leads or how many good quality leads you throw at a company. If there's no sales process, you could have 100 salespeople in the team, but they have no process to follow. It's very hard to isolate problem areas. It's very hard to measure, different parts of the sales process and the results. And I think what you do is, first of all, the sales team need to recognise that they have a problem. Yep. And if they do, and they can bring in somebody like Wayne to give them that level of understanding of how the sales process should work, convert that traction into return on investment. It's a difference between being the winners and the losers in the industry, and you can become an industry leader very quickly with the right sales process. What is it that you're excited about in your business or in the business world at the moment?
Technology is amazing. Look at Elon Musk and what he's doing. Look at how electric cars will totally change the way we do business and what lifestyle in the future. I mean, we will not own cars in the future. We will call up a car on our phone. It will arrive. We'll go to a destination. When we leave, maybe we're going in different directions. So you might take a smaller vehicle. I take a bigger vehicle, and there'll be no car parks. I mean, the technology is the amazing thing. I think as business operators, if we can harness the technology, and digital marketing is a part of that technology, but still, it comes down to the human interface. It still comes down to, do you and your people have good selling skills, negotiating skills? Can they interact with human beings effectively? Because we can't leave it all to the marketing, and we can't leave it all to artificial intelligence. But that excites me. Artificial intelligence excites me. But again, I think the big difference is the human touch.
Yeah.
Being able to have that human touch with your customers, and people are still old-fashioned about relationships. They like having relationships with people and knowing that people care, not that you've got good systems.
Yeah, absolutely. Wayne, we always ask the guests on LinkedIn Heroes to tell us if they could be any superhero in the world, who would they choose and why?
Oh, that's very easy for me to be Donald Trump. Now, that may surprise you. You may not think Donald Trump is a superhero, but hey, I think it was about time America was
run by superpowers.
Well, run by a business person, and those of you out there saying, oh, Donald Trump's taking us towards World War III, etc., look at what he's achieved. Look at what he's done with North Korea. He is an amazing guy, and I would suggest study Donald Trump. Don't knock him until you've truly studied him, The Art of the Deal and the other books that he's written. To me, I don't know. I don't believe in superheroes, but I think he's doing an extraordinary job.
Wayne, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. You are a true LinkedIn hero. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for being here. Bye.